Hi, everybody. This is Derek, your co-host, and yet another amazing episode at Both Sides of the Fence. As you can see today, we have a very special guest who's co-hosting with me today, who's also my husband.
Introduction, please.
Bonso, and also one of our producers for the show. Unfortunately, Jen couldn't be here today, but many of you don't know she is planning a wedding that's coming up very soon, and she had some very important obligations in the field for gas and oil where she works for her company. So Bonso filled in today for her. So we will miss her, but she will be back for the next episode.
This is so fun. I'm a little nervous.
I know. How's it feel to be here?
I don't know. I kind of miss Jen here. This is weird.
I know.
But we have a wonderful friend here, Dylan. He is taking over my position. He just waved to everybody.
Yes, we're going to give a shout out for
Dylan.
Thank you, Dylan,
so much.
You can't see him, but he can see us and you. And so he's filling in. He also has a lot of expertise in filming and all that. So we're really excited to have him. So shout out to Dylan. And so I think we should get right into it.
Baby, go ahead.
Today we decided to make it a little bit more fun. There's going to be some serious talk, but we're going to do more of a hot topics today. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything. Some things we may dive deep in, some things we may talk short and longer. So you get to take the ride with us. So how does it feel to be here?
Well,
on the other side of the fence?
I went over these questions, but I didn't want to do it too much because I didn't want to overthink. I really wanted to be authentic. So I'm actually excited.
Fabulous. Well, you know what?
What?
I'm going to let you have the honors. You can
really
start.
I get to ask the first question.
Yes, you get to.
Am I just starting from the top?
Yeah, I mean, wherever you want. Wherever you want, where your heart takes you.
Well, I'm going to start from how you guys did it.
Feel something that like grabs you, whatever grabs you. Okay, so what's our first topic? What are we talking about?
Alrighty. Let's start with healthcare, I guess. It's the first thing that's on here. I might as well go right down the list.
Okay.
And the question is, or our hot topic is today is, why does the U.S. spend more on healthcare than almost any other country while many Americans are still struggling to afford care? Why don't you go ahead and start it off?
I believe that, I mean, obviously there's many, many, many different layers of healthcare, and we've learned that. And we've talked in the past on the show about what universal healthcare looks like, the benefits to it, the downfalls to it. As we know, Jen was from Scotland, originally lived there for several years, had her dual residency, and she had a different perspective on universal healthcare. That although it was free for residents, the healthcare portion, from the doctors to the nurses to surgical to wait times, people leaving more sick, than they came in. I think that the problem for me is the balance.
That's what it
and
sounds
this all
like.
Stems down to greed and money marketing. And at the end of the day, I just believe that our health means less to our government and the pharmaceutical companies than money.
It's almost like the rich be still becoming rich and the poor are still becoming poor.
And the more and more we get sick and the more and more we need one medication to subsidize another medication, and then you take another medication for that, is just lining money in their pockets. And I think in order to find a more balanced and universal aspect for affordable healthcare for all, because it is a right. It should be a human right to have healthcare to provide for yourself and your family and keep yourself healthy so you can provide for your family. But again, I think that starts at the top. And as long as you have pharmaceutical companies and big pharma donating millions of dollars to these campaigns, I think that genuinely on both sides, when you think of it on the political side, I think that that's why it has taken so long, because I don't think it's one party or one affiliation to blame. I believe it's all of them.
So then how do we
I think that when you look at, and this is public, you can see, if you do your research and your homework, you can see the people that are donating to these campaigns and these runs. And we're talking some of these pharmaceutical companies that have donated almost $20 million. For example, one of the pharmaceutical companies that donated to the Trump campaign, the administration donated $22.8 million. Several of the bills that have been denied through that are from the very pharmaceutical companies that were benefiting from donating that money to his campaign. And it's all a give and take. You do for me, I'll give you money. and these are all people that work for us. And so it really goes back to, for me, we have to start holding them more accountable, because you can't have change on either side as long as there's greed leading it.
Well, how do we hold, and I'm talking for the people that are watching and listening, and we thank you, but I'm sure they're going to be thinking to themselves, how do we hold them accountable? How do we even start change? We hear people always saying, we need to call your senators, you need to call your mayors, you need to call your governors, but sometimes that's not enough. And people out there just feel like, what is the point of me picking up the phone? What is the point of me talking to my neighbors? What is the point of me writing an email or sending a letter? If they feel like it's never going to make a difference, how do you keep people still optimistic and hopeful that they may think their voice is small, but we all know one voice can be extremely large and it can reach so many people. But how do we keep people still fighting and still optimistic and hopeful for the future, that they may think their voice is not important, but it is? How do we keep them exhilarated to keep fighting? What do you think?
I think first and foremost, I think that people need to start thinking for themselves again. Okay. I think that social media, content, network programs, everything has become more of a reality TV show than it has been about facts and consistency and balance. And because of that, people have forgotten, I believe, it's my opinion, that people have forgotten how to just live and research and find their own knowledge, their own information, instead of following what everyone says. Just because you have a platform or a streaming and you have 10 million followers does not make you a professional reporter or make you a professional investigator, or, because everybody is a professional now, and I think that that's one of the biggest problems is, when I was a kid and I was younger and I would see people fighting for rights and fighting for things. And my grandmother was very much in that type of field as well. It was boots on the ground. You didn't sit behind a computer or a desk and fight, because the reality is
back then anyway.
The reality is they don't care. You can bitch and moan and complain all you want on social media, but they don't care. It just drives more vision, more sight, and more opportunity for those individuals to create that narrative, and it's spread on a wide basis. And then you add confusion and distortion in that. And by the time somebody just starts to get a hang on what that topic is, there's something else to confuse you, and another journey to take you on. So again, there is responsibility in the people of this country when it comes to that. We've learned that nothing has ever come about in a way of being easy. When it's been changed, especially on a countrywide scale. I think that people need to start jumping up, putting their shoes on, and getting dirty.
So basically, don't be afraid to research. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yes.
Don't be I remember when we were young, I was told no question is stupid. How else are you going to learn? So ask the questions. In the famous words of Jennifer Lewis, because you know how much I adore her. If you don't know who she is, look her up. She always says, get out there and vote. It's important that we all get up and vote so we can make a change, right?
And holding people accountable. And remember, I'm going to say this so many times today. These individuals work for us. We have hired them.
That's true.
Since when did we forget? I have never worked a job that I get hired and then I tell my boss what I'm going to do and what I'm not going to do. Excuse me? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. On a lower scale,
Seriously.
we hold everybody accountable every day on a daily basis. Why do we not hold them accountable? And it's time that we do that. They are employed by us. They sure as hell shouldn't be making more money than us as well. So, then my last thing I just want to say on the healthcare part is that it's heartbreaking to me to see how many people don't have insurance right now. And the ones that don't have insurance are the ones that are working full time. Although I do support Medicaid, Medicare, their programs for the elderly, they're amazing programs for disabilities. But they're also designed for people that are in a margin of more poor, that, on paper and based on their income, they cannot receive those things. And it's a double-edged sword, because although I love and I support that because families need that, it really is always on the backs of the middle class that are paying all this money in taxes, that are working probably some 2 to 3 jobs to keep their families going, working hard, but yet they can't afford healthcare
or medications
and they're the ones paying in. That money is not coming from the 1% or even the people that are in the class of poverty. It's all coming from that middle grade, and yet we're the ones suffering every day. And I just want more people to scream and shout. If you can't shout for you, shout for your 90-year-old grandmother that can't get down the steps and can't get assistance through the state to have somebody take care of her because, she makes $3,000, or, she's on Medicare. She needs to be on Medicaid to get that assistance. But I thought Medicare was supposed to help people of disabilities and people that can't afford healthcare on their pensions and on their Social Security. And now you're seeing people that if it means feeding their families or healthcare, what are they going to choose? Just like we did, to be completely transparent. Small business owners, things kept getting more expensive. Me and you had to make a decision.
That is true.
And we chose to be responsible and pay other bills and let go of our insurance because we couldn't afford it. There's no reason, with as hard as we work, that me and you as a married couple should not be able to have
Well, there's no reason why
healthcare.
Nobody should have any health care at all.
It's a human right. It's a human right.
We hear that all the time.
Period, point blank. And all these politicians, again, and all these people that are making these decisions, remember, A, they work for us, and B, they all have health insurance, because guess what? We pay for it out of our taxes. Okay. So they get free health care. Remember that too. Again, you are electing people that work for you that are getting all these services while you and your family are not. And it's another reason to fight. And that to me is a problem on both sides, not just one.
Okay.
And there's a lot to go. This is not something that can change overnight, which is why it's so important for people to fight now. Because as we've learned, it can take seconds to destroy something, but then it can take years to fix what you've destroyed. And so, again, healthcare, again, that's such an open-ended thing that I don't think you can really ever close.
We can
that
sit here for
right
hours and talk about that, right? Okay.
Are you ready? Do you have anything else you want to say?
No. Let's keep going.
Okay. All right. I want to jump here because this is something really big for you.
What?
And I kind of want to talk a little bit about faith, religion versus division. And what that looks like in the climate today, and you being such a spiritual human. And I think that I kind of want you to weigh a little bit deeper in on this. And my question is, how can religious freedom coexist with respect for people who believe differently or don't see or believe the way you believe?
Say that one more time.
So how can religious freedom coexist with respect for people who believe differently or see faith differently?
Well, I think that's pretty simple. The way I'm thinking about it, with the teachings of Christ, it's all about loving your neighbor and respecting them and walking this line of love and generosity to others. My mom used to always tell me, I'll tell you a quick story. When you assume your mom knows everybody, your mom and dad knows everybody, right?
Especially when you're a kid.
Especially when you're a kid.
Oh, you know everybody.
Well, yes, I was much older. I was probably in my 30s, and my mom saw this gentleman way across. We were walking in the mall together, but he was on the other side of, the doors that you walk in. And she nodded at him, smiled, and he did the same back to her. And then I just assumed, she knows him too. And she looked at me and she said, Bonsell, I don't know him. But the simple acknowledgement, a simple smile, a simple nod can go a long way and can be so transformative, can be life-changing for an individual.
And that's walking in faith
And it's
for
just for
you.
her walking
Yeah.
in faith. And so she was a prime example of, she was always very nice, no matter what your political stance was. If you were LGBTQ plus I hope I said that correct.
There's so many letters.
There's so
it's
many
easy
letters,
to
no
mess that
shade,
up, honey.
no shade at all.
Okay.
You know, what else? Yeah. So I think just coming to the table with respect, first and foremost, when you are across the aisle or across the table from somebody, or if it's just your neighbor, you know, I think that's a prime I don't know what they're practicing.
How does it make you feel when you see faith, Jesus, and God used as a weapon?
Well,
with the faith that you have, seeing.
If you're using God and Jesus as a weapon, I think you're not.
And I mean specifically, let's say things
to
like
me,
LGBTQ plus or other minorities that are said, you're not welcome, you're not accepted because of this. And how does that make you feel? And what to people that are spewing that, what is something that you believe should be said about that?
I don't think they're serving the same God I am.
Okay.
That's how I see it. And still God, and still God bless.
And why do you say that?
Because to me, it's just, I don't understand how you can walk this earth or this planet and the first thing that comes out of your mouth or your thoughts is something nasty and straight up evil. That thinking of I'm going to say something negative and distraught to somebody that can just rip them apart. You do not know what people are going through on a daily basis. Is that whole principle of what my mother was explaining to me. A simple nod, a simple smile, acknowledging, hello, good morning, how are you? You know, checking in, even if you don't know the person, it is transformative. And it just shows how you're walking in this life. I'm not going to be alive forever, you know, but how, and I'm not perfect. Trust me, not perfect. I have my days. I'm very private. I can be, you know this more better than anybody.
Well, we both
I can be solitary.
It's called filling your cup.
Hello.
You got to fill your cup when you give so much.
You know, I love being by myself, you know, and being around people I absolutely love and adore. But I tried every day, you know, if it's starting with meditation or prayer, walking my dogs, I'm always thinking of others, but that's probably because the way I was also raised too. And I know people say that it's how you were raised. That is true, but I do want to say it comes a time as you're becoming a young adult and you're maturing that you've got to take on the full responsibility on how you treat others.
And I do want to say too, yes, a part of it is how you were raised, but also to people out there, you know, on the other side, it is also a choice to change if it's not a positive way of being raised.
And it's never too late.
And it's called breaking
never
a cycle.
Never too late to change either.
So just because, I just want to make sure too, because in my opinion, it's not an excuse for you to hate or spew hurtful things towards another human because you were, well, I was raised that way. I'm living proof of that, and other people that I know that, it's called a cycle. And sometimes the cycle is not a positive cycle and you have to break that negative cycle. And I think a lot of times people use that as well. You were raised in faith. You were raised in loving, even through trauma that you had, some of the experiences that your mom faced, your family faced. That was something that was always stapled in your family, but not every family has that. So
we are able to overcome
I also
any
don't want
obstacle.
people thinking that it's an excuse because you lived, because you lived in that it's justifiable to hurt somebody.
No,
just
it's not,
from the simple fact of how you were raised, because that is a choice to continue to be that person following your family. And luckily you didn't. You had that opportunity. My religious was different, as you know.
Yes, it's so funny how we're both the same, but we both
I was
grew up
very
differently.
big faith. I mean, youth group. I was one of the lead singer in the worship youth group band. That's where I really found how much I love to sing, and I believed I was safe to come out to that church because of the energy and the love,
and the support.
And
yes,
when I came out, I realized, oh wait, oh my God, this isn't God that I'm feeling right now. Because this isn't what I've learned. This isn't what I've been taught through all these years of in the church. And I went to a Methodist church. And although every single, what some people call organized religion, there are different churches. I've always said that no matter what religion you believe in, there is a very similar foundation to all of them. And it's always love and unity and being there to lift others up when they can. And it's all about rejuvenating and lifting up the person next to you, your brother, your sister, your neighbor. And I was kicked off the youth group band. I was shunned pretty much from the
That's
church.
ridiculous.
And then conversations with my family were had about placements, possibly sending me, as we've discussed, conversion camps, which are where they take LGBT members and literally scare the shit out of them physically, sexually, mentally, and emotionally, that they believe that if you scare somebody enough, it can turn them straight. And the whole time, this is being done under the cloak of what we call God and Jesus. And they say, this is what he would want. This is what he supports. And it stained my faith until I got old enough and realized that I don't have to be in a building to have a relationship with God, or whatever religion you are a part of. You don't have to be in a brick and mortar building to have that beautiful, close relationship, because churches are community. It's not God, it's community that comes together to celebrate the similarity of what they believe
they're
in.
there to worship.
Yes.
Together.
But because of that, I'm also confident to say that I am happy in my faith, but I also will not be a part of a building unless I can feel completely unified. I should be able to walk into that church holding my husband's hand. And if my husband's staying for Bible study and I want to leave, and I give my husband a kiss and a hug and tell him I love him and I'm going home, I should be able to do that, just like I saw my mom and my dad do that for years when we went to church. The love, and I don't like having to go to a place and feel like I have to be somebody different to make everybody else comfortable.
Yeah.
Whenever that shouldn't be a problem to begin with. Nobody should be uncomfortable with love.
Yeah.
Unconditional love. I mean, I say it all the time. So religion for me is very much, I do struggle with the belief in organized religion, because I personally just haven't had much luck with that. So I've learned to isolate my relationship through my marriage, through you. And I've learned that that's what makes me happy now. I don't need all the extra. I mean, we were talking the other day how you said I'm really feeling this South African worship music that I've been,
my gosh. So Derek has been playing South African worship music, and it is, when I tell you, you feel the spirit in the car when he's pulling up, I'm like all about it. So like, look it up. It is so
And I told you from the beginning
good.
that
and it makes me happy that you're getting back into listening to worship music again, because I know how you feel about God. It's, it's your personal relationship. Like it's everyone's personal relationship with God. That is what I was taught. That's what I believe in. I have my own relationship with him. And it is nice. It's nice to see that. But I do want to say this, when you were talking about, just going back to the question, I remember being young, really young. I was with my mom on the bus. And we got off the bus, and the double doors open up. And right when the double doors closed, she grabbed me up like I done did something. And I was confused, and she looked at me like she was just, maybe she hurt somebody on the bus making up. And I was a toddler, maybe 4 or 5. Is that a toddler?
They see things differently, just like we see them differently.
I'm telling
now.
you. So maybe mom heard something, maybe she felt something, but she had to tell me this immediately. And she grabbed me, she made me look at her, and she said, "There is nothing wrong with you. God made you the way you are. Okay. You are fine the way you are." And it's that type of upbringing that I was very blessed, not only by my mom, but my aunties, my cousins, and extended family, things that I have shared and talked about with my family growing up. And that's something that's always stuck with me. So even though I've had people attack me, or not physically, or I'm not stupid. People talk about you behind your back, or they got something nasty to say about you or who you are. That right there has never faltered or disrupt my belief and who I think God is. And I hope that people can do the same. You know,
That's why I miss
I
it.
hope you can do the same.
Honestly, that's one thing I loved and I miss living about down south.
Yeah.
Because they had such a good way of
I know it's
reading
good.
people.
Oh, bless your heart.
Oh, yes, honey, because that's
Bless
really
your
a back
heart.
smack in the face, honey. Bless your heart, honey.
I'ma
That's
start
really a
saying that
wham bam.
again.
Dylan
Ooh.
been down south. He knows.
He
He knows.
knows.
Okay. He knows what the kind of talk is. They
Dylan,
have
has
that
anybody
proper
ever
grammar.
said bless your heart to you?
Okay. Yeah.
I
and you
can't
wanna,
see it. He's so sweet.
Yes, honey. And you're like, what did I do?
What did I do?
You know? Yeah. Anything you want to say about that? I just think that, again, I would like to, what I'd like to see, my
It's
final
not a
thing on this for
weapon.
religion and
I don't understand
faith.
how people can use
I
that
would like
as a weapon.
to see the traditional ways of worship and belonging and community come back. We had a client yesterday, remember, that said, and we were in deep conversation as we are. We talk to our clients all the time since we started this podcast, because the best way to get knowledge and information about what to talk about is everyday people.
Oh, yeah.
And she said to me, real serious, and you remember you were sitting right next to me yesterday, and she said, the problem is we don't know village anymore.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I do
And
remember
I said,
that.
oh my God,
Yes.
like that's such a
that.
good word. We need to learn how to be a village again.
And I mean, we all remember being young. I mean, your neighbor knew your mom, your everybody knew everybody. If you did something, somebody was going to tell on you. Or they took care of each other.
Yes, and know that just because I don't know you, me and Boncel have we have a thing that we do in our salon. It's on our website. It's everywhere. That stranger, brand new, reoccurring client or friend, we hug you when you walk in the door, and we hug you when you leave the door.
Safe place to come to. We love everybody that
and
walks in.
It's a great feeling. And we've noticed that people. Some were even uncomfortable at first because they hadn't had it in so long.
It's that thing you don't
and
know.
then they start getting used to it. And now if me and Boncel have an off day and we forget, I mean, girl, some of them say, where's my hug? Girl?
They do, but I love I'm not gonna lie. I like that. I hate expectations. That feeling can give you anxiety, but that's an expectation. I look forward to people coming in and leaving our establishment and like, where's my hug at? Yeah. Or they stop by someday and I'm like, you have an appointment? No.
Because we
just
believe in
by
just
to say
loving
hi,
people.
Get some love.
Yeah, and I just think that that's what happens. Whether you have religion, whether you are you have a religious belief or you have a faith or you're not sure what. The one consistency that you can is just love people.
Yeah,
just,
ain't
just
nothing
love
wrong
people.
with you
And it's
either.
okay to get upset. Nobody says that when you love somebody and you have great energy that you can't be direct, that you can't stand your ground, that you can't hold to your truth or protect those around you. But there are ways to do it in a way of love, and humility. And I think that that's a really important. It's one of the biggest things that we do not have right now.
And I'm sure there are a lot of communities out there, so I don't want to disregard those people that are experiencing a community.
Yeah, and not every,
especially with their kids or the neighbors. So keep doing it, keep spreading that type of community vibe.
And we actually have the next episode that we have that special interview with the bishop.
Oh, yes.
Who is actually a bishop of a Catholic church, who's not local, from out of state, but we love
what
his
state
story.
Is he from?
Honestly, I don't quite remember.
You don't remember?
No, to be honest with you, I'm just so excited because I'm so excited about. He literally advocates to get Catholic churches to learn and rewrite history that is properly designed to say, hey, there's nothing that shows any verification or proof that God and Jesus did not make LGBT plus Q, individuals. Yes. And I love that he's taking that stance because our community wants to be a part of that. We believe in that. We walk in faith. A lot of us walk in faith, but you scare some of them to want to walk in that faith. And that's not fair.
Please don't be afraid to walk into you guys.
Yes, no.
Don't be afraid. It's your own personal relationship.
So let's move on.
Yes.
Do you want me to?
I can keep going on and on and on.
I know.
But let's go. Go ahead. What's next?
I really want to talk about this because me and you have had so many in-depth conversations just as a married couple and our concerns and our worries. And it's on immigration. And so one of my questions is, can America have both secure borders and a compassionate immigration system? And where do you feel or we feel that it's truly broken?
Well, we're seeing it right now, how it's truly broken.
And I believe it's always been somewhat broken, but not to this extent.
My YouTube, because the climate that we're living in, you guys, I just need a minute. I need to smile. I need to laugh. So so I need to take a break sometimes, but I always see it on the daily. Somebody got killed. So I just saw a Indian woman, indigenous, Native American, if I'm saying that correctly, woman was protesting and they totally locked her up. Young woman had to be no older than maybe 20.
For doing being allowed. I mean, that is an actual right of
she was
hers.
protesting from the small clip I saw. And I was just like, really?
And let's be honest, what you're seeing on the news is only a fraction of what is actually happening. You know, we have some friends that are in law, you know, in the actual justice system that are lawyers and stuff. And they say all the time, if people truly knew the crime that actually happened, people would be scared shitless.
They're locking up
because only a percentage is really shown. You know, I want to go back to really hitting the basics for people that may not feel this in their families. You know, because you watch news and you see all of the different scenarios from the shootings to illegal search, illegal warrants, pulling people out of their homes, using 4 and 5-year-old children to coerce family members to come out so they're picked up and taken away and never been able to be seen by their family again. When we have laws and things implemented for humans. And I think that's what we forget. No matter the color of your skin, your creed, your gender, we all bleed the same and we are all human.
You know
and
what?
we have laws to protect that. And my thing is, and we've had this conversation. I've gotten emotional about this conversation. And we were talking one day about, I don't know, you were going somewhere to the store, and it was shortly after the shooting had happened. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank with her name in the truck. Anyways, and it was all over the news, and you were going somewhere, and I had told you to be careful. I don't know if you remember this conversation. And I said, because you look like them. And you said, what? And I said, you look like somebody that would be picked up on the street, Bonso. So I need you to be careful, you know, drive stuff. And it was the first time that you had said, you know what, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about the stress of you thinking that. And you are an American citizen. You were born here. I mean, there's no way to say that you aren't, you know what I mean, in any way you're an illegal immigrant or anything like that, and you definitely don't have crimes to have the reason to be deported. But we are seeing people that have been picked up, you know, and so, you know, I mean, it's crazy. I remember a couple of weeks after that conversation, I'd asked you where your passport was, if you remember.
And I said, I'm carrying it.
And he was carrying his passport.
Carrying my passport.
Think about this, guys. My husband, just because the way he looks, started carrying his passport. Not to have it for an ID, because he has a driver's license, to have it so that way he has every document he has to protect himself just because the way he looks. That is not the America that I want to live in. That is not the America that I want you to live in, or anybody that I love and don't know. I don't want anybody to feel that. And there are countries that you have to feel that way. And that's what made us great.
Yeah.
Okay. We call those dictatorships. When people go through and they literally fear walking down the street just because of who they are, and because they have a government that tells them every day how much they hate them. And it's evil and it's disgusting. Yeah. And it is fear, and it's fear in more families than people think, because we are always busy. We wake up every day and our times are full, and sometimes we don't have time to think about those things. But remember, there's probably somebody on your street and your neighborhood that looks like these beautiful humans that are being ripped from their families, and they are walking and living in fear, just like my husband and us do in that, because it's a very real thing.
The fact that it had to cross my mind, it's something I never thought I would ever have something like that cross my mind. And we aren't even having
that. We don't even walk. We're not even walking in it nearly the same as others are.
From work, I can walk to work. It's very easy. But when we heard that ICE was around, even before, it was maybe I should carry some extra identification just in case. And then the thought of even if I had it, you just never know.
But you shouldn't have to fear.
I shouldn't. ICE. The fact that I had to,
you shouldn't have to fear.
It's not even that for me. It was the fact that it crossed my mind. That is just crazy to me. that crossed my mind, that I never thought I had to think like that. But yeah. Again, this is another topic that we can go on and on. You may want to have an after dark special, okay?
Oh, but that
And
would
just
have, I'd
go
have to pick one
live,
topic at a
okay?
time.
I'm just
okay, honey.
saying.
You know, it's just but how do you, I mean, anything else you want to say on that matter, just with how you feel?
I mean, I'm hearing so many stories. I heard one this morning about an employee at a daycare. Thank God they didn't grab this individual. They had all their paperwork with them. They were doing all the right things. And again, they were just, in my eyes, ICE was breaking the law. They still were trying to take her, but she had a corral of her support system and the people that I'm sure, I don't know if it was a young lady or man, but the individual had the support of her coworkers and so on. So they weren't able to do what they try to come to do, and they left. But that's just a positive outlook. Can you imagine all the other ones that don't look like that you have people that are actually coming to this country or any other country and are doing the right thing?
What about, real quick, I do want to bring this up. Not too long ago, if you remember a place we love to eat, Central Diner. There's video. This is live. YouTube. It's not. This is not an exaggerated story. Somebody had ran into the restaurant for safety and protection from ICE, and the manager, who I also actually believe is one of the owners of it, was managing. The ICE agents in the video come in. They start terrorizing everybody in the lobby, including guests, and he was not having it.
Kudos to him.
And what I want to reiterate to people is people take things and they twist the stories. He had a duty to protect his staff.
Yeah.
And he had a duty to protect that human that came in fear. And he did the right thing. And because of doing the right thing, men en masse that he couldn't face his accuser. He couldn't face the accuser of the person that was coming in to attack an individual in this establishment, then proceeded to pin him down with knees on his back.
Yeah.
And guys, this is
disturbing.
8 miles from where we live. This is happening everywhere. And it's not about the arrest for me. I believe in law and I believe in enforcement. It's how it's done.
Yes.
And we have laws. If a police officer comes up to your thing, they don't wear masks. They're not allowed to wear masks. You know what I mean? And so anybody in that law enforcement, and then ICE is above local state police officers.
Which I don't understand.
And nobody understands it. And again, that's why I say stop listening to social media content. They are all bait clips and they are destined and designed for you to follow it, believe in it, and it's just clickbait and they're lies. That's
you are
the majority of people. The majority of people, I believe, on all sides believe the same. Yes, we wanted borders to be more secure. Yes, we want people that are American residents that live here to feel safe. Yes, we want, but on the flip side, we also know that we have a broken system that when people do try to do it the right way, it takes years to get through. So there's both sides. There's a lot of adjustments in that. But I think one thing most Americans did not agree with, even if you voted for it and believed it with the Trump administration, was violence.
Yeah.
And destroying families and arresting children. That is not what the majority of us voted on in any way, shape, or form. And remember that. So the things you're seeing on social media is a small percentage of the actual people that believe that what we are doing is wrong.
And you can do some research. So whatever you're looking at, we all have computers in our hands.
And again, it goes back to love.
It's just, you can do some research.
You know, nobody deserves to be treated that way.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
No. Because this is going to be a short segment, you guys. So we're trying to get through some questions pretty quickly. And
I mean, I think we're doing quite.
I don't know. I feel like I'm getting a little addicted to this microphone.
I knew that was going to happen.
The camera. I don't know. This is fun.
Honey, I told you we could have done this.
And you guys, I'm usually the one that's cracking up the joke. So next time you guys want to have me on, have me on when you guys are ready to laugh and cut up. Because listen, I mean,
you can laugh and cut up now. Okay.
I know.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, next question.
Okay. So this may be something you could talk about a little bit because this is something that we've faced numerous times. Why are so many Americans struggling to afford groceries and basic utility bills, car payments, and just everyday survival, while some elected officials become wealthy and multimillionaires during or after public service.
Well, first of all, that doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense that people are still. I remember being little and realizing that there were people that were going home. Some kids had no food or couldn't even get lunch at the cafeteria. I'm talking elementary school. I mean, I didn't grow up rich. We grew up. I'm from Washington D.C., so shout out to Washington D.C. Willow Road, Southeast. Okay, that's where I started. The earliest memories. I mean, we had nothing, but the fact that this is still happening, and I'll be 45 in January. I don't understand it. It's you hear these things, and it's literally really hard to comprehend the things that we're seeing and hearing right now.
And then it's being allowed continuously.
And then you've got people able to break it down, and it's being broken down so we can understand it, and we're being more educated. But then after that, I'm sitting here just shaking my head, and I'm still just like, what? Why are there people starving? Why are there people with no health care? Why are these babies without? And I don't want to, and I'm not adding, I'm just talking about like everyday good human beings. I'm not going to add that extra punch to it where we're talking about abuse that are happening in homes to some of these children, elderly abuse. I'm not even going that far yet. Just the general necessity. Oh, I can't get that. Or you have a baby coming to you. I'm hungry. I just saw a YouTube video of a little boy going to their neighbor. I'm hungry. And my mom, she doesn't have enough money, and she doesn't get her pay. It makes me want to cry now just talking about it. This little baby was saying, and my mama doesn't get paid till next week. I didn't know nothing about my mama getting paid next week.
Because it's such a real thing that a child has to know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This baby is
something
waiting
that child
for
shouldn't
her
even have
mama
to feel. Shouldn't feel that weight at that
paid.
age. Yes.
It's just insanity. Thank God that they had a wonderful neighbor that was able to take that baby into their home and say, come on in here, honey. I'm going to feed you. I'm going to take you home after this. And they took care of this child. So I can't fathom why we're still here.
Well, a couple facts for you on this, okay?
Bring out the facts.
Let's start with the politicians. And again, this is both sides, because I believe on this podcast, it's not to face blame on always one side. It's really universal. And you know how I believe in this. I'm not a fan for any of them on the Hill anymore. And I've said that numerous times. I talk about it constantly.
You do.
And I want to say this. The average senator, congressman, and White House affiliate that works now. Remember, there's different caps times, how long that they have that position, especially when you are on like a Trump administration or the Obama administration or the Biden administration, because that's all electoral, right? So you don't necessarily have that income for years and years and years.
Yes.
But the average goes in being worth less, around 170 to 250,000. The average politician leaves office being worth more than $5 million. Okay. How does that make sense?
It doesn't.
Okay. Now, let's jump back to basics.
Mm-hmm.
When I said about they work for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Employers that own a business, okay, it is designed and destined that, yes, no matter what your staff are making, the person that is building that up, that is paying up front for that brick and mortar to run, that foundation to run, should be making more. So I look at it this way. We hire them. They work for us. How are they making 10 times more than the average American? I want you guys to think about that and sit in that when you're listening to this today. Why are the politicians that you elect, that we elect, that we put in, that we put on a pedestal, And then we say, you know what? Let's just turn our heads. We're going to allow them to make all this money while the average American family who makes between $75,000 and $110,000, yes, that's the average income for a middle class family, okay, who can barely put food on the table. Okay. Because the reality is we surround ourselves with people that are like-minded to us. So sometimes in a community, it's hard to see the corruption if you are comfortable financially, right? Because a lot of the people that you associate yourself will be of your status, right? Or of your demographic, because that's what you feel comfortable in. That's what motivates you. That's what lifts you up. Okay. So this demographic of people over here may not see it the same way as this, because these ones over here are living in it every day. They are seeing the pain every day. They are going through and clipping coupons. They are making $80,000 a year and having to ask for food stamps or health assistance, because that $80,000 a year they can't afford to provide care to 3 children. Okay. Me and you and our income, we have had severe struggles this year.
Yeah.
Okay. In part of last year. And it's been pretty solid. The financial stress, the strain on being a small business owner. And every day I wake up, people that go through this, they deal with mental health issues. Financial pain is one of the worst and most debilitating things a human can feel and go through. It destroys marriages, families. I mean, it's just a fireball of destruction when people get into that. And so enough is enough.
Yeah.
Okay. What did I say to you the other day? We were watching Hunger Games.
Are we living in the Hunger Games?
Said, I feel like
we live in one of the districts.
In district
whatever the
12,
district is, hello.
Okay. And all these other people that are the 1% or politicians live in the Capitol.
It's insane.
Okay. And it is tiring and it's exhausting, and I'm sick of it. I'm so tired of waking up every day as an American when they say, be here, you want to be here, it's the American dream. And I have to wake up every day and coming up with the American dream it's the last thing on my mind, because survival is the first thing on my mind. And that's disgusting when you have people that are leaving office, insider trading, fraud, embezzlement, and we continue to have to sit back and struggle because we've realized, other than voting, we don't really have much power.
That's what it feels like sometimes.
They've been telling us that. We're going to do what we want.
I'm sure a lot of people may feel like that.
That's why I say boots on the ground. You got to go back out like we did in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, when thousands by the thousands blocked bridges, blocked this. The only way to get people to wake up is to hit pocketbooks, because our country has now become ran on one single entity, what divides all of us, and it's how much money sits in your bank account.
Don't be letting people divide y'all now. Y'all got to do it together. We all have to do it together.
You know, and that's just, that's the truth. And the reality is we need to stop pretending that we don't know what the truth is and just accept it, because until you accept it, you can't fight for it. And that's where I always tell you, we have a responsibility as the people who live in this country. We have to stand up and fight. And they continue to keep us busy with all this drama, rhetoric, AI, social media, because what they're doing, everybody, is they're stifling our voices. Doesn't matter what side you're on. Most of us do know how to love, and we do believe in humanity and empathy. And so we can stand together for certain rights, even though we don't agree with others, because together is what makes us stronger. And you can be on both sides of the fence. You can believe in faith differently in political aspects and still sit at the same table, as we've shown
Have
here.
Respect for one
and
another.
That's how you make change, and we need to do it again. And that's where our responsibility is. And that.
Okay. Do you want to do one more
another
question?
One. You pick one. Yes, let's do. You pick another one. We're gonna do a couple more, I think, because I'm feeling it.
Okay. How about let's talk about AI. Is AI improving society faster than we're prepared to manage its risk?
Okay, do you want me to start?
Sure, yes, go ahead.
Okay. So You know how I stand on AI. We literally have an assistant for the salon because that's how much I despise doing social media. Um, because I feel I don't do it in this stance, it's different, but on like platforms and main platforms, I do it because now it is the only way that we can communicate with each other because everybody lost how to communicate the traditional way, which is pick up the phone or meet in person and have a coffee or, sit around with a group of friends and invite a few strangers in and you end up talking for hours. But unfortunately, we do have to adapt sometimes. And although AI can be amazing and I'm learning this, there are great things about it. The problem for me again is these are ran by the 1%, multi-billionaires, okay, that have all this control while we have no regulations. All right. We and I'm talking first on the negative aspects that I see in it. We're seeing jobs, people, everyday people, our friends, loved ones, people's children, family members, people that are in colleges for degrees, and their professors are telling them, oh, this sucks that you spent all this money on it because AI is pretty much going to take over that position soon. And so you've got kids that are fearing after they graduate college, what does their future look like for them? Not everybody can do tech. Not everybody has the mindset of that. What happens to all the artists, all the designers, the clothing designers, your techs, your theater? When you're getting into more AI, we hear it in movies. Why you're seeing certain directors are going back to the old school ways of filming,
which is amazing, by the way.
because they're trying to remind people how beautiful artistry is and how important it is for humans to be able to articulate those passions. And robots and AI cannot give that. They cannot fulfill empathy, love, and understanding within a human to human contact. And so I fear people and everyday Americans that wake up every day and work their asses off to get ahead. I feel that there's a heavy burden, a burden of unknown of what the future looks like.
It's so brand
One more
new,
thing,
though.
if you don't mind me,
Go ahead.
you can go on, is the plus sides to it, of course, is we've seen growth in business. We've seen the reach out to people. And, we love to share and get people to love one another. And so it has, on the flip side, it's also a great platform to be able to spread the word faster, quicker. I just feel that, unfortunately, we see a lot more hatred being used with HI or AI than we are positivity and uplifting. I mean, even from programs, and that's a real deep conversation too, but we're seeing a higher percentage of child pornography, child molestation, sex trafficking. 93% of online portals are AI platforms. And those AI platforms are the number one way that we are seeing all these Americans and from other countries as well on these platforms. And they're right on your children's iPads. They're right on their laptops. They're, it's scary. And I think the biggest thing is if we are going to have AI, we need to slow down just a little. And B, regulations, laws and regulations need to be amended because even at our age, it may not bother us, but if we want to protect our youth coming up, people like our niece and nephew, who are 3 and 6, and we have to create a protection and a future for that generation. And I feel like if we don't start that now, it's going to be a very dangerous time for them.
Yeah, it's so new. It's so new.
You like it more than I do.
Actually,
so
that's not true.
You work better with it. Maybe is that probably the better.
It's just, it is what it is. But I'm just concerned about like all the data centers and the water and and the pollution that's coming from it. And how are they going to be able to, if we're going to have AI? I do agree with like some laws and regulations behind it. We have the FDA that they.
But in order to make that happen, what do we have to do?
But so what do we have to
complain?
Do?
We have to fight.
Yeah.
Because one thing we've learned now about the greed up on the hill from all of them, and again, I'm going to keep saying it because I'm going to brain this in all your, just slam it in all your brains. So we can just start waking up and realizing that they are all at fault. They all have something to gain up there. And the one thing they do not care about is our struggle. Because if they did care about the average American struggle, laws would be passed. One side's doing nothing and the other side isn't fighting hard enough to make it happen. Period, point blank. And there's no other way to say that. Basic common sense by seeing that will give you the answer. And that's why I wouldn't ask anybody to fight if I wasn't doing it. That's why we have this podcast. That's why we have other platforms that we're doing it, because we are doing our part. And again, so yeah, I just with AI, girl, I'm just. Ugh.
I know, but you're not a fan of technology that much anyway.
I'm not. I'm an old. Listen, I'm an old soul for a reason.
He just turned 40, and he'd rather have a flip phone.
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
I love it, and social media.
I miss
that's
the
why.
sidekick too.
Listen, I had somebody ask me the other day, Derek, why don't you, because we're starting to get some followers and fans, which, by the way, I have to say, it has been humbling.
Thank you, everybody, for
that
following.
We go to places, and me and Boncel and Jen are always, we're starting to get recognized, and people are just telling us how it's touching them and how much they're loving the podcast and what we're standing for. So again, thank you, all of you, so much for your love and support. It really does mean a lot to us. Do you have anything you want to say else about AI?
No. Okay. I think I said what I needed to say. I mean, I still do believe that we need some regulations and some laws behind it, and it definitely is moving a lot faster.
Oh my God. So let me say something funny, because we're going to move real quick. So
what?
We were at the party at When.
Oh, the gala?
And you were over a little bit. And I'm telling you this because one of the girls.
When I went to the bathroom.
And I'm not going to say her name, but we were sitting there. She was pretty intoxicated. And we were talking about AI stuff.
Oh, that pretty lady, the pretty young lady that was sitting with us?
No, you weren't with me at the time.
Oh, okay.
And we were talking about AI and all that. And she said, well, yeah, I just got a divorce or in the process of divorce. And I said, oh, honey, I'm sorry to say that. She said, no, I'm not. She said, because I have a new boyfriend named Alan. And
if you tell me Alan,
I said, Alan. I said, Alan, who's Alan? She said, it's the cheapest boyfriend I've ever had. It cost me $14.99 and I got to design him.
Listen.
And I said, wait a second. You have an AI boyfriend. She said, oh yeah. She said, Derek, oh my God, he's amazing. He talks to me in the mornings, tells me how beautiful I am. She said, in the intimacy, just saying.
Oh,
and I was like, what?
No, I am not judging. I'm not going to be judgy. You do you, boo.
Honey, and I was like, well, honey, 14, that is pretty cheap. That is a real cheap boyfriend.
It's probably cheaper than getting a therapist.
So, but just remember, honey, you don't know who that really is behind that.
So you have to download an app. You create
you make your own boyfriend.
And they talk to
your
you.
Own lover, honey.
Baby, if we ain't entering the Matrix, y'all, you taking the red pill or the blue pill? I don't get it. Or
remember that scene like in Bicentennial Man where they go into the city?
But at least he was a robot. I guess that's not AI. Well, that is AI.
Yeah,
he was a robot.
Yeah, that is right. No,
right.
not in person.
No,
it's all through the screen. Yeah, well, she didn't have like in person. But yeah, I have to just say that, honey, that we're going places. We're going places.
But if it's for you, then and it helps, you go right on ahead. Go ahead. Why don't you ask another question?
This is one more question. I think that this is a way for you to dive a little bit deeper into go up there. It's on the drug epidemic recently in our country. What sacrifices are Americans making today that previous generations didn't have to? And the reason why I actually wanted to ask that question specifically to you is because of your mom and the journey that you faced through the epidemic during your mom's addiction versus now. What you've seen and how you've seen it.
To be honest, I can only answer this question by what my experience was with my mom. I know there are people fighting.
It's a lifelong journey, I feel.
It is a journey that, you'll be, fighting for the rest of your life. You can have a bad day and that may make you want to use, but do you have the support system? Are you going to meetings? Are you in recovery? Are you surrounding yourself around like-minded people that are in recovery? When you are getting clean and you're ready to make that major leap, and it is scary. Yeah, it's scary. I can't imagine because I've never had to go through that. But I don't want to say that I have my own stories, but anyway.
Well, tell us some.
Well, that's a whole nother.
Is that going to be an after dark?
That'll
be like
don't
an
have to be after dark,
episode?
honey. Y'all could just
Okay.
have me as a guest. How about that? A real guest. You know, and I'm your sidekick today. I'm the second gen, like Emily.
Emily.
Yeah, if Devil Wears Prada, if you guys get that. But,
super fan. Shout out to Anne Hathaway.
Yes.
I love you. And Meryl Streep,
everybody,
and Emily Blunt. I mean, everybody. They're fabulous.
My mother was a heroin addict. She figured out how to get clean. I remember when she did. And
how old were you? Well, she was an addict when you were born.
Oh, no, I can't answer that question correctly. No. I think it probably happened after she had me. I'm not quite sure.
But there was drugs involved before you were born.
I'm sure.
Wasn't there?
I'm
sure. At least from the conversation I had with your grandma.
Whatever Graham told you, then yes. But I grew up with her being a heroin addict. You know.
So I want to kind of jump forward too to have you tell a specific story, because one of my favorite stories that you tell about your mom, and I want you to tell the people because I want people to see that people can try and function as good parents even in the midst. There's a story that you always tell me. About,
I'm sorry. I'm just.
There's a story.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
There's a story that you always tell people, and it's a sad story, but it's still a way of laughter.
Yeah.
When she was reading the book to you.
Oh no! There's so many stories because after my mom got clean, the great thing about my mother was when she went on a journey, she just told me everything. And I was so little, you wouldn't think that was probably those conversations where maybe I was too young to hear, but I kind of got it. But she would tell me, if you're in recovery, maybe you would find this funny. Me and my mother will laugh about it. But when she was getting high, child, like I had all the stuffed animals, and I would beg her to read me bedtime stories. And this is just some addict stuff that addict people do. Like she put a red light in the ceiling light, and I used to think to myself, she must be high. Because what no normal person put a red light in a 6-year-old's room? You know how scary? I thought the skeleton man was gonna come get me. Like, come on. But and it just things like that. But the thing about her is that I knew how much she loved me. I used to ask her all the time, when are you gonna stop doing drugs? And then one day she did. And the most important part was watching her develop into a new person. Actually, not a new person, the person that she was already. But when you are under the influence like that for so long, it's like that shining star that you were, that bright shining star, that diamond in the rough that you were, it gets diminished.
Yeah.
The twinkle is gone, you know, and it's so sad. And people use for a number of reasons. It could be environmental and what's the things that are happening in their lives, probably starting from a child, abuse, neglect. The parents are not good parents or probably shouldn't have been parents. It's this cycle, and the thing that I'm so grateful to God that she was able to, and I will say she relapsed, and she relapsed, but
doesn't. I don't think that means that your mom failed.
No.
I think that
not at all. Yeah. The first thing I thought about when she first relapsed, this is many years after she was clean for some years, was what happened.
Many years,
it broke my heart because I wasn't with her and she was alone. But the first thing I thought was something happened. Because for you to lose your focus,
she was triggered.
For you to lose your focus, or a trigger happened, or whatever, your circumstances and things ain't going right in your life, and it was so much easier to use and numb the pain and numb the frustration, your anger, and how you're feeling of your situation. It is a lot easier to use because you're able to forget about it, but it's hard to deal with it. But that hardness doesn't last forever. The hardness ends up getting soft again, and you start discovering who you were prior. If, I'm getting all tongue tied here, but I mean, we can talk about this for a long time.
Oh, deep. And there's so many
I can take you
stories.
To the beginning, honey.
And I think it'd be a great
kudos to all the people that are in recovery now. Kudos to all the people that are fighting every day just for themselves or for their families. For me, it was my mom got clean not only for herself, but she had a little boy she had to take care of.
Yeah.
and
Do
I'm
you
very
believe
proud
that
of
you
her.
were a big impact on
Oh,
her
yeah,
changing
yeah.
that
Well,
dynamic in her
I mean,
life?
I didn't know what drugs were. I just remember that that's not who she was. And you guys, I was really, really young, and you see how other parents are acting. You got to go to school. It's embarrassing to go to
Yeah.
school, and you think everybody else is normal, but you feel like you got something stuck in the middle of your forehead that nobody
Mm-hmm.
can't see, but you see it. So this hiding of who you are and what your circumstances is. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Not even knowing what that meant at the time when I was feeling the way I felt, but to be with her on that journey, to hold her hand, for her to talk to me about things that happened in the past and how she got to where she was and how she got out of it, and was just kudos to my mom, kudos to everybody that has have done it, and you're still doing it, because when you're an addict, it doesn't just leave you.
Yes.
It's with you
And I
forever.
don't think
And
unless you've
it's,
actually been the one to walk, you
yeah,
truly don't understand the pain
so
that
it's
they're
not
in.
easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy, So and she
Do you
had a
think we
support
need a little more
system.
grace and empathy for people
Yeah, we
at this
do. I
time
think we
that
should
are going
always have
through
grace and
that?
empathy for everybody, because I'm gonna just go back to the saying I said earlier. You don't know what people are going through, and just a simple nod, a simple
Can be enough to
acknowledgement.
change their life.
Man, you
Yeah.
have
In that
no
moment. Yeah.
idea. You don't
Mm-hmm. It's the
know.
little things sometimes
It
that
is
count the
literally
most.
the little things.
Absolutely.
Yes, it really is. So just
I
keep that
think,
in mind, everybody. It's the
for
little
me, I did
things.
never have to walk it. As we both separately have been through some pretty deep things, that those are vices: alcoholism, drugs,
Oh yeah.
addiction. I was blessed for some reason. I had the strength to never turn to those things to deal with my pain. But unfortunately, when you're dealing with pain like that, you surround yourself with similar
Alcohol.
people.
Yeah.
So I was around it so
Yeah.
much, especially when I was doing female impersonation. Because female impersonation was a platform for people to be a part of a community because they weren't accepted anywhere else. But your pain doesn't dissipate just because, and
You
your
forget
trauma
about it
doesn't
for a
just
moment.
because you do,
You just
until it
forget
starts
about
to
it.
creep back
Yeah.
in. And I just saw so much addiction and death for no reason. No reason. And it really stemmed down to one thing. And it's because the people that they wanted to be loved by the most were never there.
Yeah.
And I think that because of that, they felt so worthless. And it could have been such an easy change. Just somebody saying, tell me your story. Sit down with them, ask. A lot of times if you just ask somebody their story, you learn to understand the scenario that they're in, and it makes it easier to love them for who they are. Couple more questions, and then I figure we'll just kind of give it an end, a nice little thing.
Okay.
You pick one more. Pick one more. What do you want to do? One that you...
How about we do... What is it? Why has being a content creator become one of the most desired careers among young people? That's a good question.
Well, I think it's. I mean, hey, listen.
I just totally took you there, but
I think you. Well, no, my answer is quite simple. I think when a 19-year-old can make more money than my family has made, my parents have made an entire lifetime. May it be influencing, makeup influencing, or you're an influencer for something, or let's just face it, because it's out, the story's real, OnlyFans, where people 22 and 23-year-olds are making $33,000 a day on content for literally selling their bodies virtually. And what...
No shade to
it's
the
not.
sex
Listen, a living is a
workers.
living. I don't, honey. Listen,
we're not shading people
listen,
that are.
I worked and managed a strip club in my earlier years, as you
no
know.
judgment.
I love everybody. Art forms are art forms. But my point is in that it's dangerous because there's a maturity level that has to come with that financial value.
But what about the people that are actually doing it the right way?
Well,
What about the kids that are actually doing it the right way?
Well,
Because all content isn't just bad content. You've got some people that are been working
no,
their butts
absolutely.
off.
It's great. But my point is it goes back to regulations, because now we don't know what's AI, what's real, what's fake, what's truthful, what's not truthful. And again, it takes hours to break this down specifically. Each one of these could have their own episode and a full topic, because if you look at, for example, a beauty influencer, I love all of you who influence. That's great. But I do think there should be regulations. I had to go to school. I had to pay for college to do hair, to do makeup,
so then
to be a facial, to be able to do facials, to be able to work in the industry professionally. And I had to learn it because I'm giving advice and I'm using products and chemicals on people. I think the same goes for an influencer. Just because they're not touching you, they are influencing and they are guiding you on makeups, on products. They are telling you how to do things. And when they are not professional or certified, and that's in anything across the board, I think regulations should be able to cap what you can and can't do as an influencer.
So then I will add this to the question. This is more for like, if you're an influencer and you need like a license.
Yes.
So you're talking about more people that need like a legit license. They should go to school. Maybe they have a degree in something. Yeah. That's one thing.
I think when you're selling a product, let's use, because I'm not here, because if you ain't sponsoring, I ain't saying. So let's use King's Rising Hair Salon, for example, okay? King's Rising Hair Salon, I just lost my train of thought.
You were talking about influencers that do not basically have a license when it comes to
King's Rising Salon. We sell a product, right? Yeah. And we go over to the coffee shop, okay, to sell that product to their consumers. We need a permit to do that, okay? So when an influencer goes on and they're selling a product for King's Rising Salon, they should have to have a permit to sell that product. And the reason for that permit is because it's your duty and your responsibility that if you are promoting and speaking on that product, that it is legit, it is safe. For the consumers, you are telling it's legit and it is safe. And the problem with that is when you, especially younger influencers, and you're seeing money signs and symbols, and I've heard influencers talk about this that are now older, that started younger. They're not seeing if you have a brand new, for example, a skincare product that you come out, and you really didn't do the homework on it, you really didn't invest in it, and they said, hey, we'll give you $5,000 if you do a 90-second video on this stick that tightens the skin, okay? But what if you don't know the ingredients? What if you don't know that 80% of the people that are going to buy that are going to, have a breakout or have an issue with it? Again, I feel like my only thing I do not like about it is there's a reason why our country's been known so much for education and furthering your education. And we are in a point to where people that have put the time, the money, and the hard work to go to college, to get degrees, are now making a fraction of what people are making with no degree, no background, and no proper influence in that career other than pushing that product.
This is just specifically for this is more, you're talking about specifically, but I feel like, don't you think the influencer thing is kind of starting to dwindle? Maybe because I don't follow influencers.
I mean, I don't know. A poll just came out that the person between the age of 16 and 28, me and you and Jen looked into this and we thought it was crazy. The average screen time that demographic is a summer. So think about that, 3.5 months of screen time, and you break that down per day, that equals out to almost 6 hours of screen time a day. That is the American average, and that demographic that is on their cell phone, influencing as much, even more than that, but just in general. So I don't think it's dwindling. I think it's so saturated.
And now, is that influencers, or that's just people
I think
using?
Just across
is that
the
just
board
people
when
using their phones?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, you're just saying we need to take our shoes off and our socks, and touch the ground.
And I think
go outside
again,
and get grounded again.
Yes,
having
it's
some
a balance.
Yeah,
we're not balanced. And okay, so my last question before we close it out is, what kind of America do you hope exists 25 years from now, and what has to change to get there.
Oh my gosh.
In just a couple of senses, what
Excuse
do
me.
you want to see when we are, because at that point we'll be in retirement.
You know, when I was young, I mean, I didn't know what I was going to be when I was going to grow up. I just wanted to be an artist, you know? And now that I'm older, I just hope and pray that I see more division in one another all over.
More division, less division.
Not division.
You mean less division?
Less division. Thank you.
More unity.
Thank you, my darling.
I got
Thank you.
honey.
Unity. Do you like how I said that? Unity.
Unity.
Love.
Yes, love.
Respect
Desire.
Respect for one another. You know, I keep saying this to everybody. I'm not going to be here forever. But what type of imprint am I leaving on?
And your legacy.
In my
what
legacy.
Do you want your legacy
What
to
about,
be?
I'm thinking about the babies and the young people growing up. I just want to leave. I hope to God that I have left such a good impression and a positive look to all these other people that I meet or my young people that I meet, that when I do die, that, you know, in some way I was able to shape, you know, them for the better and prepare for the future, and that they have the opportunities and more opportunities, because these kids are the most important thing. You know, they're going to one day get older and they're going to think the same thing. How am I making a difference, not only for my children, but maybe my neighbor, you know? And I mean, I just want to leave. I hope it's 10 times better than what it is now. I mean, that's a hard question. And I think we all want it to be better in the next 25 years.
I mean, I want it to be better much sooner, but, you know, certain topics. Okay. So for me, I want healthcare to be affordable for all.
Yes.
I want the 1% to pay for the taxes that are owed and deserved, so people like me and you don't have to work as hard, that can have a retirement, that can have savings, that can own homes, that doesn't have to be in debt or people using credit cards to survive. I want a place that labels aren't the primary reason for division.
Oh, yeah.
That
I like that.
I'm with you because I love you and you are my person, you are my partner, you are my life and my world, but I follow the same laws, I pay the same bills, and I pay taxes, and I work hard just like every other American does, because why? I'm human, and that's what we're destined to do.
Yeah.
I want to see immigration. I want to see people be seen and loved. Part of the reason why we are the best country in the world, and I do still believe that, is because we have so much incredible culture, a melting pot of people that their knowledge when they come here, it's growth, and it works your brain and your heart, and the world would be a boring place if it was not a melting pot of different culture. And I love that. You know, me and you have so much diversity in our group with all different backgrounds, because A, it never gets boring.
No, it doesn't.
And B, it's beautiful to have surrounded by so much different culture and love and humanity. But my ultimate thing is, in 25 years, I want to be able to sit somewhere, and I don't know, but somewhere near the beach, cruising, maybe living on a cruise ship, but sitting and looking at our niece and nephew and
grown up and having the possibilities
and feeling safe that they have a future.
Yes, I like
and
that.
that they have a belonging, and that they don't have to repeat history like we are repeating it now. Because that's not fair. When you do the fight and you get through it and you come out better on top, you shouldn't have to go back to ground zero again. And that's what I really want to see for change. And I just want people to understand it is so much harder to hate than it is to love.
I
don't understand why. I mean, all the energy you could get things done and accomplished.
You know what? Those people that are doing it, they just need I think they need a hug.
Yes.
Those people don't know what love really is.
Yeah.
You know, hatred is not love. No.
But so that was a nice little
That was
thingy.
nice.
I know there's so much that you're talking about. How did you feel about being on for this day?
This is great. I loved it.
Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy having me?
I mean, I always enjoy having you, honey.
No, this is great. I do miss Jen though, but no, this is great. This is awesome. I'm happy to be here, and I hope I did a good job. I hope you
think
guys
you did a
enjoy
fabulous
it.
job. I think they're gonna want you back. I don't know.
Well, if I come back, we're gonna do some table dancing, y'all. Okay, we're gonna be hooting and hollering.
Okay.
Next time.
We have some really cool things coming up, of course, and
Hootin'
some
and
other stuff
hollering.
that's in the works for some more intimate episode as well.
Intimate,
more
make me sound like I should
one-on-one
talk like
and some
this.
really deep conversations for those of you that are already liking our concept. I want to thank you on behalf of myself
and I want to thank you, honey, for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Always, I mean, girl, listen.
Okay.
I think it's important too to show that don't be afraid to have these conversations with your partner,
your friends, your family,
and have
everybody.
open dialect. It's important. It shows a side of people that's important to know. And I think there's so much shame, so much behind these conversations, and it shouldn't be, because we can unify together. And me and you don't agree on everything.
No, we don't.
And nobody should, because the world would just be so damn boring. But we can still come together even when we disagree. And that's what this is about. And so I'm excited. I've been excited to have you on here, and you're normally back, but it's glad I just like
I'll be back
to
again.
let people see how much of a power couple we are.
Amen.
Power to the couple.
Amen. I love it.
Amen to you too.
Why don't you close us out?
Okay, I am. Okay, guys. So again, I'm Derek, and this is your special guest co-host today, Bonsell. We're so thankful that you're tuning in and that you continue to follow us. Please don't forget to subscribe below. And we get the question all the time, how can we help and support? Sharing is free.
Sharing is free. Follow, subscribe.
Free.
Yes.
And sharing and caring is free. So please share the episode. Send it to people that you know that need to hear this.
Hope you enjoy
it. And please don't forget to love one another out there, no matter which side you believe on. Everybody deserves unconditional love. And remember, we're all humans and we're all here in it together. So with that, we love you all. And until next time, welcome to Both Sides of the Fence.
Ow.
Bye, guys.
Bye.